Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are on week, I don't know, of this time we are Forget About It because there's four of us. My name is Diane Mohammed. I am one of the hosts.
I am Rebel, and by the way, there's not four of us.
There's six of us today.
I don't know, bro. Listen, there's five of us. It's five Get About It today, as opposed to last week when it was six of us. Rebel, what's up?
No, school started. Stressful.
I
It's
know
a little sad if you guys can't tell.
We also have.
Samir, Abdullah, you guys know what's up. I don't need to introduce myself.
You already know what it is. And
Saima, your favorite host.
and last but not least,
Jamelia Pardal.
hey, how are you guys? How was your week?
The week was meh.
Meh?
Yeah, school kind of does it for you.
What about you guys?
It was good, you guys. I went to Rebel yesterday. Not for that. I was just beside Rebel, Pulse and Pier. Just overlooking the city. Just, sometimes you gotta see the city, gotta see the building, gotta see the skyline. Just say mashallah, just say thank God, because we live in a beautiful world, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta appreciate it. I was looking at the water and I was like, wow. Do you ever notice the water makes sound?
Yeah, and there's like a smell too.
Yeah. I thought it was just a look type of thing. When you, like, the light just bounces off the water? Yes. I don't know if it's just me.
Bro, the other day at like nighttime it was raining and I looked out my window and you know when the floor is like kind of shiny or like the concrete is kind of shiny. I remember I saw some guy walking outside Sam's and you know how Sam's has like bright white lights outside of it. So there was like the shiny ground and then there was the bright white light and this person just walked through the light and it was just a perfect silhouette. I was like, this is cool.
That's sick.
I was like, this is cool. Water is weird though, cause like you drink it, right?
Yeah.
But then you go to like a body of water or like a river.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So
That's
much.
a whole lot of water.
That's a whole lot of water. Fam, I remember one time I was in Bangladesh and we saw this like random like river like by this hill and it was like the hill was green and the water was blue.
Yo, let me tell you. So back in my day when I went to Ethiopia, the water was red. They literally, I'm kid you not. They literally called it the Red Sea.
Oh.
And
okay.
They do call it the Red Sea.
I've heard of the Red Sea.
No. It wasn't actually the Red Sea. But the water is red. And I'm like, what the heck? And then they made me walk in it. And I'm like, yo, this is going to burn me? Like, what are we doing? And then I have a picture. I'll show you guys after. But I kid you not. It was like red, like powder red. I don't know if that makes sense.
Powder?
And yeah, and I'm walking in, and I'm really scared for my life. And then this, I don't know if it was sand, but it's like getting on my shorts. And then the red residues all over my shorts, and I'm like, what the heck, mama?
And then a red fish showed up. And so
Yo.
attacking him, and then a red shark showed up.
That would actually scare me.
A red fish?
Yeah, more than a red shark. Kid you not.
Because it's just there. Like, it's like a red tadpole.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Like
It's red.
Like an octopus. Have you ever seen?
Like a giant red octopus?
Yeah.
Do you guys like squid?
I've never had squid.
Never had squid?
Is
I've
it
had
You guys
calamari.
eat squid?
No.
bro.
Oh my.
I've had calamari one time, and then I had squid one time at Korean barbecue, and it wasn't that good. But calamari is pretty good.
So you guys eat squid and enjoy it?
Bro. Squid games, man.
Rebel, what do you think about this?
What's your opinion on squid eating?
It shouldn't be legal.
That's what I'm saying. Some things just belong in the
It's
sea.
unethical. Rebel actually taught me how to eat squid.
What?
I did?
Rebel took me to eat squid for my first time.
Put him on blast. Rebel, don't be capping on the
Rebel
show.
put me on, bro.
Don't be capping on the show, Rebel. Because we'll catch you.
I really don't remember this.
I don't know why you wouldn't remember that. No, but yeah, I was saying, fam, I remember one time there was like this blue river in Bangladesh, so I jumped in, obviously. And then I think I ate dirt.
You what?
I think I like ate dirt. I was sick for like a week.
Oh my god.
Because I think while I was swimming, just some dirt accidentally went in my mouth.
Disgusting.
And
That's disgusting.
Oh, shoot.
No, just like the sickness that you get when you're back home is just different.
Nah.
you're like vomiting
It's
and stuff.
literally
real.
just different.
For real.
The worst is like when you're a kid and you go back home and you're just like, you vomit like 12 times.
Yeah.
It's the worst. And especially if like your family lives on different parts of the country and you have to drive.
Yeah.
Those, because the roads back home are not kept. They're just
At all.
not. So it's just,
Not even a little
you're
bit.
just bumping the whole time.
Canada's Wonderland?
Literally, it's like the Behemoth. You're just up and down the whole time.
Literally.
But yeah, so it sounds like you guys had a good week, despite the weather, despite our flawed education system, our broken education. And we also have a guest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually going to let the guest introduce themselves this time.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Hi, guys. So my name is Adelle Sium, and I come from Vancouver, BC. Came across the country to be here, so I'm really excited. Wow. I'm not going to lie. And I work at the Center for Dialogue, which is based at Simon Fraser University. And I work as a research and dialogue coordinator. This is the title. It's a long one, but yeah. So I'm really excited to be here, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
We have a guest
You
from
guys
far
know?
away land.
Yeah, what you guys know about Vancouver? We get our guests. We get our guests from Vancouver.
From Regent to the rest of the country,
Mm-hmm.
next to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bro.
Y'all got national.
Bro, we're getting Cornell West on the next show. That's not true.
Bezos is hopping on this.
Okay,
next.
maybe not Bezos.
Relax.
Maybe not Bezos. We're getting Angela Davis, bro.
Hey, you never know.
That'd be fun.
Another thing I actually want to shout out is there are 3 Habashas in the room right now, which is a rarity. We don't get this often. What's up?
Welcome to
Samir,
Regent.
Robel. I know my name's Adele, but the way, it's Adal, really. But yeah, I have to say I'm really excited for the Habasha reunions. It's good to see.
There you go.
Sorry, guys, I don't mean to be exclusive.
We were just talking about Bangladesh, bro.
I just had to throw it in there.
Yeah.
Just had to.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you're in Regent.
Yeah.
Well,
It's my first. I think this is my first time out here, to be honest.
oh.
That park out there is real nice, I will say.
Which one?
The Regent Park.
Oh, the actual
we have multiple
We
parts.
have a few.
We're privileged.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I won't lie. I was a little discriminatory of the 6. I thought you guys did not have nature out here. I did not think. I wasn't sure.
No, you're kind of right.
Yeah.
We don't really have nature.
We don't really. We have like some trees with fences around them.
Yeah.
I see. We have a whole ocean over where I'm from. But.
No, like I heard something about Vancouver, and it's like in Vancouver you can't have like your buildings like higher than a certain level because like the skyline. I don't know if I just made this up.
No. I think they're people fight it because they want to enjoy their skyline, but there is actually a really contentious situation happening in Vancouver where we have so many people living there. We need to we need the high rises in order to house them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a disparity of like the single household people and then the people who need the buildings in order to afford to live.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little contentious right now. So
Do you enjoy the city?
do I enjoy the city?
Yeah.
I was born and raised there.
Okay.
I think it's beautiful. So beautiful. But I won't lie, I'm a big personality. And in Vancouver, I'm extra. Like, I'm extra in Vancouver. Out here, oh my, I belong. Like, everyone's just like, oh, you're regular schmegular. You are not. Yeah.
But do you like that though, not being able to stand out? Or are you just like, you're not a star anymore?
Listen, Samir, I am always a star. Don't get me twisted.
Tell them.
I will. No, I'm always a star no matter what I do. But you know what? I think I would love my home base, like, my future to be in Vancouver because that's like where my heart is a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it would be real nice to spend some of my 20s out here in the 6 because you guys got life. Like, it is lively here.
Yeah.
Y'all are hot. Like, y'all are spicy over here.
It is fun just like walking around downtown at night, especially like around Yonge, because like there's certain pockets at Yonge where there's just a ton of just like neon lighting. And I love neon lighting, especially when it's raining and it's reflecting off the ground.
Oh, yeah.
We're going back to that.
I was at King Street last night, and King Street was real nice as well, I have to say.
Yeah.
There's on the weekends.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Toronto's like it's just straight up metropolitan city, which is fun. I'm also kind of curious, now that you said that, isn't that just kind of like a thing where people around Canada just kind of dismiss Toronto because they're like, they're in their own world?
Yeah.
We don't dismiss you guys. I think if anything, we feel like Drake gassed you guys up too much. So we're like, are they down? Like, it feels like you guys are your own entity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And nobody moves like the Six moves. Nobody moves like Toronto moves. Like, you guys move in a way that's very, feels very New York. I don't know how you feel about this.
I get you.
I can get it.
Oh.
I feel
I
I
like
don't
that.
really get it because I don't know how people
I feel
move
like
places move.
Vancouver's like the LA, and then
Yeah, yeah.
like
Or
the
West
ghetto
Coast.
LA,
Or
though.
Vancouver could just be like San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it does
that.
give that
That's
vibe.
the perfect.
Vancouver's a very Bay Area thing.
Yeah.
You know, minus like the hood.
Bay Area is strong
Minus-
for us.
minus
We are
the-
San
yeah.
Francisco. I've been to the Bay Area. Bay Area is more like this area.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Bay Area's got life too.
Mhm.
Vancouver's a lot calmer. People always be wearing yoga pants. You know,
Oh,
we do yoga over there and meditate.
I do. Yeah,
Go
I
on
do.
long walks on the beach. This is what we do.
long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
No, I do like. I think there is a world in Toronto that's like that.
Yeah.
There's definitely a very. I mean, if we're being real, it's a very white. It's very liberal. It's a very like, 80K and up, a year, world. But it does exist in Toronto. I just don't know it. Like, I think about them sometimes, and I think about like the shenanigans that like Toronto rappers get into, and I'm like, oh, well, these people are probably like afraid of these people.
Yeah.
But like we know they're just goofballs on IG Live.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know. So you worked with Simon Fraser University,
Yeah.
and a big part of your work recently has been youth and elections. So could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I did a lot of democracy dialogue events.
Mhm.
So I actually when I first this is my first post university job, and I just started in March. And I started off by doing a webinar series called Doubling Down on democracy and dialogue. So we did so many great events. Check them out on YouTube. You know, SFU's Morris J. Wosk Centre for Dialogue YouTube. They got all the things out there. So we had one on the criminal justice system. We had one on climate change and civic education. That was also a topic that we dealt with. But my last event, my boss was really kind. Shout out to Jen Wallowick. She was like, you know what? If you want $2,000 to do an event, what would you do? And I was like, what would I do? Good question. And I was stressing because I had to propose an idea. And I was like, the way I was like, trying to figure out a Google slide and get it all together. And I realized at this point, this is in July, and we knew that there was an election happening. And I thought, you know what? How about if we were to have a dialogue event instead of a debate, but a dialogue event where we have youth leaders from representing each of the national parties come forth and talk about electoral issues pertaining to youth specifically. Because I don't know if did you guys watch the federal leaders debate?
Mm-hmm. I watched like the
I
highlight
didn't.
reel.
Yeah, the highlight.
The highlight, yeah, let's be real. Like on Twitter, did y'all see the clips? Probably Twitter, Instagram, something like
There's
that.
like
I didn't see the clips from it, but
There was like this 20-minute video, like, because I didn't want to watch. It was like an hour and something.
Yeah.
So I watched like the 20-minute like highlights of people arguing.
Okay, and how'd you feel about it? How'd you feel about it?
You know, some party leaders gained some points and some didn't. Like, I feel like you really could see who the good debaters are and who aren't. And it's just like who really folds under pressure. And I don't really want a president who folds under pressure.
that's the president.
President.
So I have to make sure you guys are attentive, you know?
I see what you're saying. But, you know, I'm wondering, do you think that was the platform that allowed for everyone to bring forth what they would bring to Canadians? Like, do you think that really, was it a space where, because it feels a little competitive. It almost feels like a power trip a little bit. Instead of it being a genuine, like a job, they could be like a job interview.
Yeah.
Where all the electoral leaders came forth and said, this is what I'm going to do for you. And I know that's what they do, but they were really just, it's not about talking smack about the other people, but just simply talking about what your party is wanting to offer Canadians, clearly, concisely, covering all the talking points without people screaming at each other. I really wanted to create a space like that. Because to me, it feels safer. It feels like the way, I guess, my own idealized democracy should look like. because democracy is collaborative, right?
Yes.
All of us come together, and not come together. We all like take our individual assessments, see what really is working for us. You go to the poll, you vote, and you do the vote that makes sense for you. And then whatever, the majority, the way things all pan out, where the majority wants it, we then anticipate our members of parliament to work collaboratively to do the best for Canadians and represent their people. And that to me, I feel like a space where, I feel like the way we elect our leaders is so almost in this power-hungry space that it becomes a power-hungry space in government as well. And it's something about our democratic culture. I think there's some issues there. So.
Yeah, I think that's a big criticism I have of just a lot of political circles, and a big part of why I don't really care about debates is because, like, me personally, I'm terrible at debating. I'm awful. I get flustered. I start stuttering. No one takes me seriously. It's like, okay, fine, whatever.
Me.
And the thing with that is that in my opinion, politics should be about, I hate to use this term because it's turned into like a sort of like online white supremacist dog whistle, but like the marketplace of ideas. It's a very Jordan Peterson garbage thing. But the marketplace of ideas, it's the idea that, you come in and everybody has their ideas and we vote for whatever is the best one, not for who's the funniest. Because often, if two people are arguing, the person that's funnier is the person people are going to remember.
Or the most attractive.
Yeah. I think there's too many weird things for me to really care about what happens in a debate. I think I'm a lot more interested in records and like someone's political record, like what they've done and like their promises and how committed they seem to their own
their resume.
Right? Their resume.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think it should be like a mean-spirited thing because like I think we're lucky to, like, we talked about this last week, and I hate drawing this comparison, but I think we're lucky to be in a country where our conservatives aren't, anti-maskers. Don't believe in.
Well, I mean, they exist. PPC guys.
Yes, but I mean the major conservatives. We don't have a Republican
no, of
Party.
course, the Conservative Party.
We don't have hogs. We don't have a Republican like crazy person. We don't have a Marjorie Taylor Greene in Canada, thankfully. But that's why I'm not a big debate guy. I don't really care. Like also like I think in 2019 it just turned into insults. So it's just like, why am I gonna bother with this? These people, this is the same people. One guy's bald, one guy's a different white guy.
And I don't know how you ladies feel, but sometimes also in those spaces, because the way we were conditioned growing up, men take over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Men are, hey, I'm here, hello, haha, and then women, you have to be delicate, sweet. And it's a little bit counterintuitive to be like, hey, I'm here and and
They'll still label like the women aggressive if they speak up for themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's one thing I've noticed.
Yeah, right? What were you saying? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say and if you do just sit and be quiet, then you get walked all over.
Yeah.
You're weak.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
So it's just a no-win game sometimes. Yeah.
I think at a more fundamental issue, I think it really comes down to how much we value strength in other people.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
I feel like this is not really something I care about.
Yeah.
But I also do want to ask you, I know that you have also talked about a disconnect between youth engagement and actual politics.
Yeah.
Sometimes with social media being seen as an illegitimate
Space to
discuss. What's your take on that?
I think that we get a bad rep.
Mhm.
I think youth get a really bad rep. We get told all the time, we're unempathetic, we don't care, we're not paying attention. I think, voter turnout is predicted to be lower than it even was in 2019, and it was at 51% in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the highest in comparison to about almost 70% in, older age demographics. And I think that it's not because we're not unapathetic. We are the leaders. We were the leaders of Black Lives Matter. We were the leaders of all the climate strikes. We stay being the leaders in a lot of political spaces. We do it traditionally. We do it on TikTok. We do it on Snapchat. We do it on Twitter, Instagram. Sure, that's not what our parents did, but it's a new world. We grew up in a new world, and so how we do things, it's because we care. It's because we're engaged. But I think, and I'm also here to represent a phenomenal organization called Youthful Cities, and they've actually done a little bit of an analysis of all of the party platforms from all the national parties and tried to see how many of those parties were talking to youth, like what policies were oriented towards young people. When I tell you the analysis shows, pathetic. Pathetic. There was rarely any direct engagement of youth. So here's really what I'm here to say is it's not us that are being apathetic. It's us not being engaged. When you're not being spoken to, you feel like you're not being heard. Why would you prioritize going out to the polls, right?
Yeah.
And I know we were talking a little bit, like, we're, I think, all, like, a little bit geekier in this space, so we're a bit of an outlier, I think, in terms of we all, like, I know I worked for Elections Canada. I know y'all went, we did our thing, but I know for me, like, talking to my friends, I know we were talking about how, I don't know what your guys' how it felt in Toronto, but in Vancouver, a lot of my friends, they were uninterested. They called me the day before being like, Adele, so like who am I supposed to vote for? I'm like, I cannot be telling you who to vote for. No one feels like they were being spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like there was a political leader that was speaking to you, that was really trying to engage you?
I think, yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say for me, yeah, because like this job we kind of did a lot on politics, so we can like see, like for people I know, like yeah, I don't even think they knew who was running.
Deadass.
No. Yeah.
No.
Not.
But me too. I was working on the Strengthening Canadian Democracy team. Even if there was no way for me not to know, but it's almost like we all work jobs that put us in that space.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be engaged, but we get paid to be engaged.
Yeah.
Not like paid to be engaged, but
we get paid to
we do get paid to get engaged. Totally. I was paid to do that event. Like, so it's a little different in terms of like the way our friends would feel, because if they're they're serving or they're nurses or teachers or whatever,
mm-hmm.
they don't feel like they're being engaged right now. And I like ultimately the future of the sustainability of our cities, when we talk about climate change, when we talk about serious adjustments in our lack of affordability of living, all these things land on our shoulders.
Yeah.
All these things really impact us. There's about to be a generation shift of baby boomers not being the most powerful group of an age demographic, and it's about to be us. It's the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen Ys, all those gens.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't engage us, that is going to be really troublesome for the future of our democratic culture, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to rewind just a little bit. I do feel like there's space for both platforms to be able to pick people's arguments and also be able to hear everyone out. And so I think to be a leader and a great leader, you have to be powerful. And that, for me, that's one of my main things I look at. Like, if you're able to, because you said, if you were in an argument, you'd start stuttering. But I think that's really important to have that skill. If you're my leader, to not, stutter and, show confidence, etc. Because you should be confident in what you're saying, etc. But at the same time, I think there should be a platform where everyone should be able to speak at the same time and say all their opinions. And how it turned out in our community was there would only be one leader who was really outspoken, and all the other leaders wouldn't be outspoken. And I think it should be a mutual thing where all the leaders get an equal platform where they all get to be able to reach out to everyone. Because it's when you only hear one person, obviously you're gonna vote for that person because it's the only opinion you've heard. And so that's kind of what happened in our community, where it's I feel like that's what happened in our community, where we just kept hearing things from the Liberal and kept seeing things from the Liberal, so we all voted for the Liberal. But I feel like if we were all given an equal platform where everyone showed up, the vote would be way more different. So I think it's really important that we have that platform where everyone's able to engage and educate themselves. And have that conversation, most importantly.
Yeah, and I think that happens when you have a safer space to do it. And so I'll say, for my latest event, so what it was called was the Federal Election Youth Leaders Forum. And I had a conversation with each of the youth leaders. And I specifically made sure not to have candidates, because candidates are, when they're in the game, it's hard to get them out of the game zone.
Yeah.
So I decided to have people that were, representing parties, but weren't necessarily running. And so that helps with just the mindset, I think. And I had a conversation with all of them, and I kind of had, rules of engagement. And it was pretty much, there's no reason to be talking smack about any other person in this panel. Like, there's no reason to talk ill on another party. It's just not necessary, really. It is incredibly important to have the same etiquette that you have at a dinner party. Nobody likes that person that just be talking the whole time. You're just like, okay, like, we heard you. How incredibly important it was to just really be youth-centered and focus on your policies, what you have to offer the audience, not focus on what another party can't. So these rules, and it was really nice actually having these conversations with people, because I'll say I was a political science BA. I was and all these people were all poli-sci people. We all went to school doing political science, and in classes you can have, in lectures and whatnot, and I'm sure you guys experience this too, where you can have people from a bunch of different perspectives and ideologies, because that's the way we all roam around in this world. We all have people coming from different places, but you could have a proper conversation about why that you might believe that one policy is better than another. And it's so possible for us to talk like that, but it feels like when you're competing for votes, instead of just talking to the demographic that will be engaged with you because you've consciously created these policies for them, then you won't have this issue. You don't need to compete necessarily. It doesn't have to be a game. So that was kind of my way of fighting that system, I guess.
Yeah, I think we did something pretty similar here, where I was involved with an all-candidates meeting during the election, and in the beginning I had to read out like a social contract. It's like, this is not a place where, no any type of harassment. It was on Zoom too, so it was like, any type of harassment that will have you removed from the call immediately, to the candidates and to the people present. And we did that as well.
He was a speaker.
I was moderating. And I didn't tell them until last week on air. They were like, yo! And I was like, okay, they're recording.
I'm
dead. It was funny. But I do also, just to add on lack of engagement with youth, there was also the big thing with polling stations this past election season, and not as much access for on-campus university students.
That's a big one.
What'd you think about that?
Not impressed.
Yeah,
I'm not impressed. I will say. I mean, all of us go to school, I feel like sometimes it's like we work so hard. We work so hard. We have so many things going on. We work our part-time jobs. We have to go to our clubs. We, have to volunteer. I feel like, we got to do homework. And we're moving all the time. It's just not that easy sometimes for us. We don't get the 3-hour paid leave to go vote. It's not the same for us. So when you take the opportunity for more youth to vote, when you don't make that a priority, I don't mean to take away, but when you don't make it a priority to coordinate these things, because I think what I've really read was there was a coordination issue with COVID and coordinating with the universities to do the on-campus voting. To me, it feels like that's a lack of prioritization, because you were able to coordinate with, old age homes, for example. You're able to coordinate with, elementary schools to hit certain target neighborhoods, family homes and whatnot. But young people weren't as prioritized, it feels like. How do you guys feel about it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
My friend goes to Western, and she was complaining to me about how there's not many polling stations. There's only 1 or 2. So It's kind of it's just bad. Yeah. There's no two sides to it.
I think it's also think about how many university towns there are. Think about if someone's I have friends who were in downtown Toronto and then moved to Queens in Kingston. It's a brand new city, also a lot smaller than Toronto. And now they just moved onto campus, and now it's okay, find a place to vote. I just moved here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it sucks too because like we really were the ones that were hit the hardest with unemployment, you know, especially with COVID, and we're really the ones that are struggling to afford houses. So many of these things directly pertain to us. You know, we aren't being prioritized for job training. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I graduated university right when COVID hit. The way I was struggling, the anxiety of figuring out how do I network? How do I get a job? What does that mean? Like, it was overwhelming. And I think a lot of people really felt that. And then when you add on the added on stress of like, okay, what political official is going to help me get to my goals and figure this stuff out? Who's looking at me? Who's prioritizing me? I think a lot of young people were just feeling like they're not. And it just puts you in this position where you're like, okay, like, I guess I give up, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. Like, if you're, and no kidding, there's low voter turnout with us, right? Like, we were never, it feels like we weren't as, you know, we just weren't the priority.
weren't really thought of. And I mean, to be fair, cutting polling stations is going to cut voter turnout. Like, that's kind of how that works.
Yeah.
I also wanted to expand more on what you said about housing and affordability for youth as well. You know, in Toronto, we're going through a housing crisis. We've had some very violent things with the police and unhoused people. Yeah. What's your organization or just your perspective on that?
Well, something that Youthful Cities came out with was that, you know, really youth are saying that because they did youth surveys on, you know, youth priority issues and did an analysis of where all those parties stand on those issues, right? So from this survey, they realized that about 87% of youth are living in the hubs or in the main cities like, you know, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal. I don't know if 87% is the right stat, but I could be reading this wrong. But a lot of young people, especially like you said, like we go to university, we go to the main part of the city. We, you know, when we're trying to start up our lives, a lot of us go to we move away from the towns and you go to the big cities, right? And we cannot afford these big cities. It is expensive out here for rent, you know? I'll say for me, Vancouver's having the same problem y'all are having in Toronto. And
I've heard.
I grew up in East Vancouver, you know, right what is now kind of the hub of Vancouver, like it's, you know, East Van by Science World. It's beautiful. You guys should check it out, by the way. But I had to move after the Olympics. We had the Olympics in Vancouver in 2010, and I had to move down to Surrey, which is kind of like Brampton, the equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was kind of the middle of GTA, and then John moved down to Brampton, I guess, the Vancouver version of it. And man, like that's what happened to a lot of people. And, you know, that again is going to specifically hit immigrant families, you know, refugee families, people of color.
Yeah.
Period. It really impacts us the most. And so, you know, of course, youth are being marginalized quite a bit. But on top of that, the youth of color are getting quadruple hit.
Yeah.
And it gets tough. And it's so pivotal. Like, it's just so important to get us engaged, young people engaged, people of color engaged, especially the way the world is moving right now. And if the government isn't going to talk to us, then we need to talk to the government. We need to make it feel more fluid for us to call up our MPs. Ultimately, you know, like business owners, people who making money, they have their MP on lock. They have them on their speed dial. And none of us, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I've never spoken to my MP or my ML. I have never gone out of my way to go to talk to a city councilor and done that. Because it intimidates me. I'm like, how do I write the email? I'm like, will they, like, am I going to be smart enough? I don't know. But really, they work for me. Of course I am, you know, of course we are, but it's hard to feel engaged. So ultimately, that's where, you know, Youthful Cities has this great pivot hub. So it's this database of youth surveys. and we really want to use this as our ammo to when we unite. Being dramatic here, but like, you know, when youth unite, we realize creates a more fluid culture for us to go to our MPs. We have this database that exists for us, and we're able to say, hey guys, you guys aren't supporting us here. We got numbers, like we have facts, we have receipts. It's so this is what I'm really here to I guess promote is just checking out this Pivot Hub. Learn, go on Youthful Cities. They have Twitter, Instagram. They have a website as well. You can Google it and see what they can go on the site and kind of go around. And there's a lot of this is a great platform to really help you feel engaged, feel like you're capable of being engaged, and it's a bit of a foundational data hub to allow us to mobilize our people, I think, in a more impactful way. So please check it out. It's brilliant, frankly, and I think it's really going to be important for our future as we attempt to make strides in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. And I was thinking, I think I know why it's like a lot of youth who go to like a university that they don't live in and like they move there to a new campus, don't vote. And I feel like it's because like, okay, so I used to work with Elections Canada as well. And that process of like registering, a lot of like youth don't want to do because it's really tedious.
Yeah.
Of like having, and then you have to like transfer them, and they're just like, I just won't vote in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's what happens most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, yeah. I was a supervisor during the at a polling station, and oh man, like usually the people who had problems with registering and all of that were young people.
Yeah.
And the way I tried to hustle to be like, no, don't go anywhere. Yeah. Quickly trying to call, but I'll say on working, like, when you work for them, you understand it's just really not that easy. Like the Elections Canada website went down, like because it's like so many people are going on it, and you're trying to because we change our addresses so much, and so you need your address to match up with the paperwork here and and this is like what you're taught. This is the way you get certified in order to be able to vote. Youth are going to have the most challenges in having all those pieces together. Like we usually don't have stable addresses, or I know for me, even when I moved around, I always kept my address at my dad's, like my family's house, because I was like, that will just give me the least amount of problems as I'm trying to do things, and it sucks. And not everybody has, like, I have the privilege of my parents own a home. Not everybody has that and are able to do that, and so it's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I remember for mine, because I don't have my driver's license yet, and then I was a first-time voter. So I showed up with my passport and my health card, and they were like, you need proof of address. I was like, okay.
Right.
So I went and I got a check that OSAP gave me. I was like, this will work. And they were like, this will work. And then it worked. But I had to go home and then come back. And, also my building had only 2 out of the 3 elevators working. So it was just a long process.
Why didn't you just show something on your phone?
Like a bill. You can always show like a cell phone bill or whatever too.
You did OSAP on your phone.
Now you know for next time.
Yeah,
now
great.
you know for next time.
Fantastic.
Or anything like what are those bill receipts that you get from your bank every month?
Oh.
Or even school, like if you go on your, I don't know, we have like, I went to SFU, so like Go SFU, there we had this thing where you can get the T22202, the tax form.
Oh, that
tax form, that has your address on it, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, do you think that students who move to like a new university, they don't vote because they don't really feel connected to like where they're living now?
That's a good question.
Good question.
That's a good point. That's true. If you're living there and it's like not really
honestly,
your neighborhood, why are you gonna vote for the MP, right?
Yeah. Wait, if you move to like a new university, let's say I moved to like Montreal, can you still vote in like the riding that you can?
It's unless you change your address. And unless you change your address to where you are currently living, then you can vote. And another big challenge with the federal election. So I also did the provincial one in British Columbia, and that one you're able to do what it's called. I forget the actual name for it, but it's essentially you can vote outside of your riding. So you can go anywhere. Let's say you're not in your riding at the time. You can just go to a random school and vote. It's no problem. Federal election, you could not.
Oh.
You had to go where you were, like your polling station that you were meant to go to. Even if it's in your neighborhood and it's in your riding even, you have to go to the place that they would have sent that voter card. And I don't know about you guys, I didn't even get my voter card. So I didn't actually even know. But
and a lot of people go home for like the actual election day, and they forget about advanced election day. Yeah. And also, like, you know, they pull up on election day and they see the 3-hour long line and they're like, yo, what is this? And then they don't do it.
Because you go after class and it's like 7 p.m. That's when everyone gets off work and it's like, frustrating.
I remember when I was voting, I remember some person was at South Center and they were like, you have to go to Daniel Spectrum, actually. He's like, why?
Yeah.
Just because. He's like, well, and thankfully he was like, well, it's not your problem to deal with it, so whatever. So we left, but like, the guy had to walk across the street.
I don't know why. Everyone wants to come at the last minute at 9 p.m. They're like, yo, I can sneak in. Like, I finished up that shift at 4 a.m. Yeah. So,
oh my God, there was a lot of ballots at yours then, huh?
Yeah, I was like counting the ballots too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, everyone has to count the ballots.
And
like I did Spadina Fort York, and it was like really close.
Oh.
It was like head and head. It was like 100 vote different or something like that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's real wild, actually.
But the guy.
That writing is crazy.
Yeah.
Right,
you want to explain it?
Go for it.
Okay, so the guy. I don't know his name.
Okay.
But he.
Put him on blast.
Yeah, sorry. If you're listening, my bad. But he got accused of sexual assault. And then this was like after the advanced polls. So this is in between the advanced polls and election day. So everyone's, you can't take your vote back, you know?
Yeah.
So people eat cheese. He gets kicked out of the Liberal Party. So he has to be independent now. So he like, I guess he's running as an independent. But bare people already voted for him. So now
as he was a part of the Liberal Party. How does that?
Well, he still got the votes. So you're voting for the person, not for the party.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Technically, but you know, a lot of people vote based on the party, even if whoever it is. So that's a
everyone switched up their vote, and then it's like neck and neck. But then he won. So
but now
there's an independent in the party.
A lot of people in that area are calling for him to resign, so that they get a shot at an actual democracy. Because he won after, like, he got accused of sexual assault and then won, and then became independent, and everyone's like, what?
Something about that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, legally, I think that's you guys are correct, but I mean, like, it doesn't feel like that's not okay. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not. That's why a lot of people want him to resign. This is like, it's not. We didn't realize you were that. I don't want to go that.
You see, Toronto, you guys have a lot going on over here.
Yeah.
BC, we're just like on our skateboards, chilling.
Provincial BC gets a little crazy sometimes. I've seen a lot.
Not as crazy as provincial Ontario does.
Okay. We have that guy. That doesn't count. But I've seen a lot of criticism of the BC NDP.
We got Doug Ford's biggest fan in the room, actually.
Robel, I apologize.
No. It's a joke that he has.
Oh, gotcha.
You want to talk about the video, actually?
You want to?
Do you want to? Robel?
No, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. I think we're good.
I also, just to move past what you were talking about earlier, I think the sort of fiscal responsibilities, at least for me, are not very good on a lot of young people's mental health.
Oh.
You see that segue? You see that transition? That was nice. But yeah, I do want to talk about youth mental health. I want you to talk about, how in your guys' research, what have you found on political parties and mental health for youth?
So when I have.
Take your time.
Thank you so much. Oh, you know what? So in terms of the party youth targeted platform analysis on youthful cities, they have affordability, jobs, climate change, public safety, public health, diversity, and inclusion. Mm-hmm. And so I actually don't have any mental health specific things on here, but I'll say that
it's all good.
My event did focus on mental health, and it was actually. I highly suggest you guys check out the YouTube video online, where we had a really interesting debate between all of the different leaders on the best way for us to achieve our mental health services, because it's incredibly challenging right now. So I'll say for me that, so like I said, I graduated my university degree right in literally 2020. Like I was done June 26, 2020. And I'm not going to lie. I had a really, really hard time when I was done. Because your whole life you're in school.
Yeah, waiting for that moment.
Waiting for this moment.
Yeah.
I don't get the moment.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole pandemic.
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to have a career or something?
Yeah.
Oh my. It was really hard. And I honestly, a lot of people who graduated, we really had a hard time figuring out what on earth you're supposed to do. I think a lot of people, even high school, when you graduate, it's just disorienting.
Yeah.
And I struggled, and here's what was even worse. So I'm a big therapy fan. I love therapy all day, any day. But I was able to have a consistent therapist throughout my university degree.
Oh.
But then I graduated. The way that messed me up, you guys?
Oh, no.
It messed me up. It was really difficult. And suddenly, I'm having to rely more on... it was during the pandemic, ironically. I don't know if you guys heard of the app House Party.
Yeah.
I remember House Party.
We know you guys are on House Party.
I have not thought about that.
Oh, man, I know. House Party, believe it or not, that was like my support group for a long time.
Free therapy.
Free therapy. It's the best. It was a beautiful thing. And man, though, it was really difficult to figure out how on earth I was supposed to get services. I couldn't afford a therapist.
Right.
Oh my God, I could barely afford my rent, let alone my therapist. And you know what? It's interesting the conversations that are being had where, you know, let's say conservatives, you know, I remember he was saying that I think we need to offer subsidies to people to be able to get their mental health specialist instead of, you know, going through the more socialized way where you'd have to go through your doctor and the government, the you know, those type of. And, you know, but the other argument on the other end was like, well, but that's where we can guarantee that people are able to do that. Because let's say you give even people subsidies, how about if they're not able to make up that extra whatever? How about if you're not able to keep that consistent? But then the other end of it is like, okay, but the wait time, it's just a mess. Left, right, center, it's a mess and figuring that out. But what's even more difficult is, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but post-COVID has been, I think, the largest strain in this most recent history, or largest in the West anyway, largest strain mental health wise, I think.
Yeah.
It was difficult going through a whole pandemic and being young and trying to figure things out. We barely had a savings account as it was, not as much cushion to fall back on and figuring that out. And it's really tough when you're not in school anymore to get those services. And let's say you were never in school in the first place, then even harder.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging thing that we really need our, you know, elected officials to work on, because the sustainability of our mental health means the sustainability of our country, of our cities, of our communities. If all of us are doing poorly up here, we can't do much.
Yeah.
You can only throw it you can only throw ourselves so far. And I will say that's actually a big passion. It's a big soft spot for me, because I'm somebody who dealt with depression before, who's dealt with anxiety, all those things. And it is really hard when you feel like you can't get help. And it's really hard when you feel like no one cares enough for you to get it. And I don't know. What was your guys' experience in the post-COVID world?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the people that I know, they were suffering through a lot of mental health stuff, and you can really see, like, when they came back to school. Like, I remember on the first days, because there's like around 1,200 kids at my school, so when it was lunchtime and everybody was coming together, everybody looked so anxious going out to meet people, because you haven't, like, seen so many people in so long. So there was a lot of anxiety.
Totally.
Yeah, and like the grade 9s and the grade 10s, it's so bad for them, because they've never met these people before.
Yeah. And
they all come from different middle schools, and then they come. I remember I was grade 12, and I see all these grade 9s, and no one's talking. They're just standing like they're social distancing, but no one's talking. They're just standing on their phone and just looking at the sky, and I'm like, yo, this is sad.
Right?
But can we backtrack and talk about how you said house party? Like, that was, I don't know how she's having therapy on that. That was flame session.
Fam,
You come on there.
High school house party party was straight degeneracy at all times.
Oh my! You come on there and you're getting violated.
Exactly.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yes, but you filter out them trolls. You have to filter the
Oh
trolls.
yeah! Our next man comes, boom. I remember
Unadd.
people are
delete.
coming from the UK on their call, and they sound like goofs, and they're like, "Hey yo, and I'm like, "Yo." Yeah, we start flaming them.
Chigman's chest.
Yeah, literally.
See, you were flaming. You were the problem. You were the party. You were the troll.
They came in our call though.
Fair enough.
Because for us, when house party was a thing, I was in grade 9. It was the beginning of high school for me. It was a couple years ago.
I was in high school when house party started.
Yeah. But I had an iPhone 4, so I couldn't download house party.
Yeah.
I didn't have the software. All my friends had it, but I would just hear stories of just my friends being on there and some random guy joins, and it was just foolishness.
That existed. Okay, no. Let me just protect house party's name for a second, please. Don't do that. Don't do them like that.
She's gonna talk about the scribble game on the number.
Oh yeah, those games were fun. No, okay. So here's my experience. So yes, in the beginning, it was all of those things.
Yeah.
That definitely still existed. But after a while, you start filtering out the trolls and be like, so I know you're trouble. Delete, block, gone, sir. And then eventually, what started happening, at least for me. You know what I mean? Sorry, don't be disrupting my conversations. Like, go away. Or you jump into another room or whatever. And what ended up happening was eventually I was able to get a solid base, a group. It's crazy. Like, I genuinely have friends from all over America, friends in the UK, friends from Australia, all over the world. It was amazing. What?
Yeah, I remember we had ours, and this guy joined. And I kid you not, I'm so sorry you guys have to hear this, but he comes butt booty naked on it. He starts dancing. He's like drinking beer. Look at this. He's like dancing. He's like dancing.
See, that's the thing. Sometimes you're with the
no.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, okay, let's see what happens.
Sometimes though, if you just wanna, if you just try to see some do some, when you're in a weird mood and you're like you feeling dumb.
Yeah.
Sometimes house party has that too.
Yeah, most of the time house party has that.
It does, but I swear to
You
you,
have to curate
if you no, I swear, I promise you, if you stayed on it, you block the degenerates.
Right.
Ow.
No, they always find their way in. You lock the room, I swear. You lock the room.
You lock the room.
No, you lock the room, they somehow find their way in. You know, it matters. Okay, so it's like, if you're the locker of the room and then you leave, and then
it unlocks.
It unlocks.
Yeah. So then people just swarm in, especially how that one friend just adds everybody.
But you know what I mean? But you know what it is? Once you get that community going, the people can only hop in when they have a friend. You don't have, if you aren't friends with them, they can't hop into your, like, if you have nobody that you're connected to in the chat, you can't hop in.
If you have
So that means
five
that
people
people
on the
you're
call,
talking.
if you have 5 people on the call, there's always that one guy who has like 20,000 friends.
See, this is
Yeah.
what
That
that one,
worked
you know that
it,
one guy
guys.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
The way he got cut. He got cut. I actually have some girls that did that too. Don't get it twisted. I'm so with you guys, but eventually it did become a bit of a community. And once that happened, I clearly had my own world. So now I haven't actually met new people. Anytime I've been on house party, I haven't met new people on there since. And I'll say my cousin is actually with me right now, Azzy, and she still is on there. And he's still popping, yo. But it's really stayed within our community. Like, we don't have the trolls or the jumpers, because I think people got bored eventually.
What do you do if you have that one mutual friend who you don't want to join because you're talking about serious stuff?
Oh
and
my
they
God,
see you in the room, they see you locked, what do you do then?
I say, you know what? Listen, I'm a grown woman now. I'm 25. I just turned 25 this week, so I'm...
Hey.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So, you know what? If I don't want you in my room, sorry, you're not hopping in.
Yes. Boundaries.
Boundaries. You know what? You're from Australia. I'm not worried about you. And even if let's say you see me face to face, call me out. I invite you
Good
to.
day, mate.
I invite you.
I mean, it's not like you're doing anything unreasonable.
Absolutely
You're having a
not.
conversation about your mental health.
This is
Like,
imagine you're having a dinner party and some random person comes uninvited, try to knock in your house. I am so sorry. Not enough food for you.
Yeah.
That's it. You stay confident. That's what you do, Samir. You stay confident. You just don't worry about it.
Just like your favorite
So
politicians.
funny.
Confident. Even under pressure. Never fold. Sturdy. I also did, just before we cut, I wanted to discuss, racial equity, indigenous reconciliation.
Big one.
I guess we're Zoomers, Gen Zs. That's a very big thing we talk about. You look at any person's Instagram story, there's an infographic.
Absolutely.
Which I have my own criticisms of, but yeah.
Social media warriors.
Yeah, the whole very performative infographics that don't really provide information or sell progressive politics. I got started, didn't I? This is already going. Hey, Justin, put therapy in universal healthcare. Do it. This is a message by Diane Mohammed, not Focus, or anybody else.
Wait, I have a question.
Yo,
Do you guys think everyone needs therapy?
I do.
Yeah, I think so.
I need it.
Like
Yeah.
needs.
Okay, I'll say right now, I'm in a current spot in my life where things are balanced right now.
Mhm.
But I know I'll need it eventually again when something else. You know what I mean? Once you get triggered, like Janae said, like you're gonna need it. But I think it's always good to have it available.
Yeah,
when
like
you
having
do.
the option to have it if you need it. You know?
Yeah. Like your family doctor or your dentist. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
I
my
mean,
dentist.
there is a very big push to include dental care.
Yeah, you're not
Universal
dentist.
care.
I'm waiting for my appointment 4 months. I'm dead serious, guys. Like, dental care now, because everything's backed up because of Corona.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you literally have to wait like 6 months for your appointment.
Yeah.
Imagine, think about people who are trying to get their driving license.
Oh my gosh, me.
Oh,
That is crazy.
When
People are getting like
When
hour
Can you
long.
even?
I can actually. I've been
Don't kill me.
waiting.
The
I've been
wages.
waiting.
Well,
Can you look
I've
over
been
this
waiting.
table?
I can't. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
short girls matter too.
Yeah. Anyway.
Samira, she's on the wheel.
That actually does, but like I've been waiting, and you have to book an appointment now because of COVID.
Uh-huh.
And the only available day that there was like the first day of school, and I was like, I can't miss school because Corona messed up school. So now the school schedule, I learned like 2 units in one day, so I can't miss school. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
So frustrating. But wait, we should probably go. Let's go back to
Yeah,
the
racial
back
equity and
yeah,
reconciliation.
and reconciliation.
We just started talking about bullshit again.
Yeah.
Yes, racial equity. What was your experience? Any takeaways from
From-
any of the
yeah.
events? Or?
So it's just like based on the on Youthful Cities data analysis here, it seems like I will say everybody included diversity and inclusion, and not everybody. They're really saying like the Conservative, Greens, Liberal, NDP, Blocks doesn't feel like that was their main focus, but Bloc is a bit of a an outlier party in itself a little bit.
Could you read every single like?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to do all the check marks?
Yeah, like the yellow, the blue, the green on top.
Okay, so yes, the main things that they look at that Youthful Cities analysis really paid attention to in terms of policy was affordability, jobs, climate change, public safety, public health, and diversity inclusion. Oh, and public health is probably where mental health landed as well. But when it comes to diversity inclusion, it feels like all the parties did talk about it.
Okay.
And that's a positive thing. It's definitely changed than our last our last election.
Sorry, I need to mention something because I'm probably gonna forget this. This is very important, so I'm happy I remembered it. Anime Paul. Anime Paul dropped out, guys.
She did.
So that's
Federal
actually
leader,
crazy. She
ran.
heard our podcast from last week, and then she dropped out because of us.
Yeah.
What did you guys do to Anime Paul?
We talked about her on last week's podcast.
Just because, like,
It's trolling.
It's trolling.
no.
Did she actually drop out?
Yeah.
She dropped.
She's not the party leader anymore.
She's not party leader anymore.
Oh wow.
She ran for our riding, so our area, and she got third.
Yeah.
Third.
No, fourth.
Fourth.
She's behind the conservative.
Oh
Yeah.
right. I watched her Ryerson like X University. I saw her debating, and I thought she did quite well in like their all candidates forum. But
Yeah, she's
But
not
for a
bad.
party leader, getting fourth, it's very disappointing.
hey, but you gotta remember that's also our first black political leader. So let's see how much that.
Oh, actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually don't know that for a fact, but I feel real confident about saying that.
I mean, she's the only
We
prominent
haven't-
one in a while, so.
How a black
I think
federal political leader on a national level? Have we had that in Canada?
I heard she's the first Jewish. That's what I see.
She has to be the first black. I
think
am googling that after. Can we please Google this?
Google it right now, fam. Anime Paul, first black federal Canadian leader. Anime Paul, she is the first black Canadian and first
Wow.
Jewish woman to be elected leader of a federal party in Canada.
And why do we all know that she's the first Jewish one, but not the first black woman to
I mean,
be a
that was
federal
just-
leader?
That was just Samira. I don't know what.
Oh no, but I agree. I knew she was the first Jewish. They didn't talk about her being the first black political leader. And frankly, how much did that impact her?
That's the thing I've had to.
how much does that impact her? Dead ass. Like, really, it's something that is frustrating to see, because sometimes the woman of color especially, we get really, we don't have as many networks or connections to create that party solidarity that maybe Elizabeth May was able to have as a white woman, I love Elizabeth May. I'm like, she's from, BC, shout out. But you got to remember, what you look like is very much correlated with the amount of political savvy or networking skills you're able to have. Mm-hmm. And Anna May Paul had higher obstacles in being a federal leader than all of the other federal leaders. I'll say that right now. I think Jagmeet definitely had like his challenges as well, but I'll say that there is a really strong, I'm from Surrey, so like obviously these are my head, but there is a strong, East Indian, Asian
There's a lot of
populace. Black people were a solid 1% of the electorate. So I feel for Anna May Paul. I really do. I think that I feel for her, because I think she is a brilliant woman who had higher obstacles than her peers. And you have higher obstacles, you're not allowed to complain about it. She wasn't she wasn't allowed to complain like, I'm the first Black woman to be, because that's not the point. That's not the point. It never is the point. But when you really look at it, the way people treat you and the way you're able to make these connections is everything when you're needing to be a leader. That's power. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time, people of color, we don't have the power. We live in Canada, the land we stole from Indigenous people. When have we seen an Indigenous leader? One of the first, Indigenous political leaders we had, Dustin, fired because she was doing her job. Jody Raybould. Yeah. Jody Wilson-Raybould. Yeah. She's also from BC. Shout out. And she's brilliant. I actually have had opportunity to talk to her, not one-on-one, but like in smaller spaces. Mm-hmm. Brilliant woman. And man, but got attacked, got fired for what? We have to remember all of these things when we're looking at our political leaders, the way that they're treated within that space, that political space. It has everything to do with their performance. Because imagine, you're about to play, I don't know, I was a theater person, so like if I was about to go on a play and I knew my teacher was I had great teachers, not to talk ill on anything, but there was never any roles like for me. I could never be the princess because there weren't a Black princess yet, or there weren't roles for people that looked like me. Thus, I wasn't able to fully be what I could have in my high school theater stage. But let's say if you're playing sports and that your coach is really only rolling for certain kids on the team, you don't even feel committed to throw down what you really have, because like, this coach isn't about me. And I could imagine how I'm really curious to know as to how Anna May Paul may have felt, especially in a green space, in an environmental space, where I actually worked for an environmental nonprofit. I think they're making great strides in reconciliation and equity in doing that. But frankly, it's a very white space, an incredibly white space.
The left in general is a very white space.
I think a lot of political spaces are very white spaces, frankly.
That as well.
It's a white man's game.
It is a white man's game, and we are attempting to just strive in. And it's really hard when people get to real places of power. They're considered a threat. And I think we really need to remember that we need to remember the obstacles that our colored politicians go through, over their white expendants or their white counterparts. So I think that's so incredibly important. And I think another thing we have to realize is that on top of the people of color, this is not an experience I can speak on, but, Indigenous voices are just, the way that they are simply abused and forgotten is devastating. clean water feels like a very basic right.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is something they have been asking for a very long time. A very simple request, I think. You know, imagine the challenges, like, you know, we're talking about city life right now. Imagine the challenges that people who live on, you know, the reserves are able to get. Are they able to vote? You know, it's a really difficult thing, and it is so incredibly important for our future to engage people of color and Indigenous voices in a stronger way than even we're doing right now. We need to keep improving in this way, because otherwise our world will never move in the way that we need it to. So,
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Adelle, representing
Youthful Cities and SFU's Morris J. Wosk Centre for Dialogue.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We had a
Thank
great
you so
time.
much.
We're gonna start a youth union now. I mean, what? Never.
That was really good.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the little notification bell so you never miss out on any of our content. If you'd also like more, you can find us on our other social media platforms. And if you want even more, you can look at our website.